So, Peter, there have been a lot of theories about economical decoupling from the communist China.
Yes.
What is your theory about economical decoupling, and how will it affect our mission of taking down the Chinese Communist Party from the American economical standpoint?
When I was in the Trump administration, the boss, I would call him the boss, POTUS and I, President of the United States, he and I were totally aligned with the idea that we had to use very stiff tariffs on Communist China to force Communist China to stop what I called at the time the 7 deadly sins. And this was things like intellectual property theft, state-owned enterprises, currency manipulation, go on and on and on. And there was a faction inside the White House, they call it the globalist Wall Street transactionalist faction. Yeah. People like Steve Mnuchin, Larry Kudlow, Gary Cohn before him. These are all Wall Street guys who leech off the workers of the world.
Globalist.
Yeah, and they fought to somehow try to come up with a trade deal with China. I always argued from the get-go that it was a mistake, that whatever they would agree to, they would never fulfill. I've turned out to be almost as good a prophet on that as Miles Guo is on everything else. But my point is that there's no question we are at a point now where the rest of the world needs to decouple from communist China as a way of basically raising up the manufacturing base, the defense industrial base, and middle class of this country, and stop feeding the Chinese communist beast.
Yeah.
One of the equations you have to understand, and this was frightening when I looked at these numbers, the trade deficit that American consumers run with the Chinese Communist Party is almost exactly equal to what? Their military budget. Wow. So we are in effect paying the Chinese Communist Party to build up the missiles that are aimed at Taiwan, the missiles that are aimed at our naval fleets, the submarines that they're building. And Stalin, the Russian leader in World War II, the one, again, history is always a guide and can also be frightening. The gulags in communist China, true story, were built using the plans that Stalin and the Russians, the Soviet Union, gave to the communist Chinese. And we have to break the communist Chinese economy, not to hurt the good people of China, but to liberate them. To liberate them, because otherwise we are going to continue this status quo of communist China building up wealth at the expense of the rest of the world, squandering wealth because of their evil system. And there's a collapse coming there, mind you. There is a collapse coming there. But between now and that collapse, there's just so much damage that the CCP is doing to the people of China as well as the rest of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that I like to say is that the sooner the new federal state of China can be officially recognized as independent sovereignty, the more lives will be saved in China.